Reality Team TV, we back. We back again. Bekka,
Hey.
how you feeling? How you feeling today, darling?
It's a bit warm, isn't it? It's a bit warm
Oh,
today.
it's a beautiful day.
We've missed that sun.
Yes, we've missed that sun, but at the same time,
Hotter than yesterday.
some of us are still complaining. Like, oh, it's too hot.
Oh no, I can't complain. We only get about 5 days of this every year, so you got to make the most of it when it comes, right?
You know what I mean? Like, even obviously, I think the first 3 weeks, 2 weeks of like summer, it kept on going hot. Obviously, grey, hot, grey. I thought summer was done.
So just
So for the sun to finally come out, like you get one to the way it's coming out, it's a good thing, man.
yes, I had both the windows open on the drive down. Hair was going wild. Like, I did
Yeah.
a hair check when I got here because I didn't know what the situation
Yeah.
was.
So would you say would you say summer is your favorite season? Even though it might sound a bit mad,
Autumn
but
is
some
actually
people.
my favourite season.
Yeah,
Autumn is, I
autumn.
love summer. Like you got party, long
Yeah.
days, and all the rest of it. But
Yeah.
autumn, it's about the smells and textures and the colours and the sunsets. Like
Yeah.
autumn is definitely my favourite season.
Winter's my favorite season, especially when I'm inside. You know, when you're cozy and
Yeah.
outside it's raining. You know, that
Yeah.
proper winter, that proper beautiful feel, especially like around Christmas time, December time, you know? Like, I want to do something a little bit different to begin this conversation, yeah? So, usually, obviously, we ask people, like, how you doing, or whatever, and people usually obviously say, I'm cool, I'm good, or whatever. But I'm going to do something a little bit different to really kick off this conversation, yeah? And, yeah, man. And my first question is, like, how is your healing process going?
Ooh, there's a big question. You get goosebumps when you ask me that. Then, healing process. Are we talking about kind of what happened to me last year? Are we
Yeah,
talking
we-
about life journey? What
We're
we
also
talking
going to
about?
touch on that. But, you know, I'll let you literally, wherever you want to take it, we'll literally, follow you.
So it's going well. Let's
Yeah.
start there. Let's start in a positive place.
Yeah.
Last year was a bit of a mental year. So last year I had a major heart attack. I had a complete. Thank you. I had a blockage of my main artery in the front of my heart, and I was at a gig, and I just finished performing with my band, and I said goodbye to all the guests, and everybody left, and it was kind of just the boys were clearing the equipment away. I went to the loo, and as I got to the top of the stairs, had a bit of a funny turn, I guess you would call it. I felt dizzy, like all my energy just drained away. I felt sick. Went into the bathroom, started to feel really dizzy, then started to be sick. Then sort of sat on the floor. I don't know if you guys are weed smokers, if you've ever had a whitey.
Yeah.
It was that kind of feeling, like no energy, like you're gonna faint, like you're gonna pass out. And I sort of started being sick, and then I sat down on the floor, and as I sat down on the floor, I got this kind of blossoming pain in the middle of my chest. And I knew instantly I'm having a heart attack, and I was sort of laying on the floor. I didn't have my phone with me. I'm up 2 flights of stairs to the toilet. There's nobody around because all the guests have gone, pub's closed. And I remember just lying there thinking, if I don't get up now, nobody's going to find me. They're not going to find me until it's too late. So somehow I got myself up off of that bathroom floor, down 2 flights of stairs, back down into the main area where the guys were packing away the equipment. And then when I got downstairs, I got shy. Weird. And I just sort of sat down on the sofa.
Yeah.
And I'd had a friend that had come to that gig, and I hadn't seen that friend in a year.
Oh,
And
wow.
that friend I met during COVID, because I was very vocal during COVID. I was involved in a lot of the protests and the marching. We can get into that a little bit later if you want
Sure.
to. But this is where I met this guy, and this guy is a security guard by trade. And so he was waiting for me to come back down, because obviously we hadn't seen each other for quite a while. And I was sitting on the sofa. I must have been sweating. I was really pale. I was kind of in the room, but not really in the room. And he's watching me from across the room, unbeknownst to me. He's watching me from across the room. And I'm sitting there, probably about 5 minutes has gone past, and I can't move off of that sofa. And then he's just come over and he's gone, "Are you okay?" And I've gone, "I think I'm having a heart attack." And he's like, "What? What do you mean?" And then I went all a bit woozy again, and he's like, "Fuck!" Like called everybody into action. And then they've called an ambulance, and at this point, like they've brought me back into the main room. So now I'm sitting with them, but I'm kind of not there anymore. But what's crazy is like I had no control over my body. but my mind was completely aware of everything that was going on around me. And like, I couldn't respond. I couldn't talk to people. I couldn't really move. And I ended up like, I was sitting on a sofa like this, and I ended up like sliding down off the sofa onto the floor because I felt like literally I was going to keel over if I wasn't lying flat. So I get down on the floor and I can hear them calling the ambulance, and the ambulance is going to be 50 minutes on a red light.
You said 15 or 50?
50,
man.
Minimum 50
What?
minutes.
How come so long?
And by that point, I can't communicate anymore, and everybody's getting into a bigger panic. I can hear it going on all around me. And then Ollie, the security guard, my absolute guardian angel, was like, nah, fuck this, get her up. Literally picked me up off the floor, carried me out, threw me in the car, and drove me to the London, which was like 10 minutes away from where we were.
That was the best thing, man.
100% the best thing. Now, in the car, I don't know why I'm laughing about this, but it's funny the things that you remember. He got in the car by himself, and he left the other guys to like deal with whatever they had to deal with. But he didn't have anybody to kind of look after me, so I'm in the front seat. He's driving, like, I don't know what kind of speeds that they were. I was like this, flying about in the back of the car.
A few speeds just to,
But he's also trying to keep me conscious at the same time. So he's like talking to me, he's reaching over, he's giving me a shake when I kind of keep keeling over. And then we get to the hospital, and he's driven into like an administrative part of the building. Literally carrying me out the car, and the security guard's like, this is not A&E. He's like, I don't care, you need to get help. So the security guards run off, got a wheelchair, put me in the wheelchair, and now they're running down the corridor to get me to the actual main part of the hospital. As soon as they saw me, they like whipped me straight into a room and confirmed within like 5 minutes of getting there that I was having a major heart attack. And then they shipped me off to Bath. One of my friends had caught up from the band by that time, so they kind of went in the ambulance with me. They took us to Bart's Hospital. I then was straight into the operating theatre. Straight into the operating theatre.
My God.
They can't mess around when it's the heart, because every minute counts. Because and what they found was that I had 100% blockage in my lad artery. So that's the main artery at the front of your heart. And they actually call it the widowmaker. So there's a section where it branches off, and if you get a blockage before that section, it stops the blood flow to all the rest of your heart. So they call it the widowmaker because most people don't survive it. So I feel incredible to still be here today to even be telling you this story. So I can remember going on the operating table, and it was like I separated into two parts of myself. So I was observing what was happening by that detached part of my brain, but I was also in it in full panic mode. So I can still remember like this whole process. I was crying and I was saying, please let me move, because I obviously had to stay really still because they were trying to get the blood clot out of the artery, but I was in so much pain in my shoulder. But then there was a detached part of me that was like telling myself to calm down. It's okay. You're all right. This is going to be fine. They're going to sort you out. And just like observing the room and what was going on around me. And then because I was kind of fidgeting so much and asking them to let me move, the clot broke. So they weren't able to get it out. And when it broke, it went down into all the little ventricles in the heart. So now it's dropped all the way down into the heart. They've managed to sort of get most of the blockage at the main bit, but it's still bleeding. So they decided they were going to put a stent in. So I think they asked me to like sign a form. So I can remember signing a form, giving them permission to do it. And then they went in through my wrist. So I've got a little scar on the side of my wrist. And they threaded through your main artery all the way up, like a little tube, all the way up through your shoulder, into your heart. And I could feel it, which is weird. Like, it wasn't painful, but I could feel the movement, like inside my body. I think they'd give me sedatives or something. And then when it got to my heart, I started having a little bit of a freak out again. And then the detached part of me again was saying, it's okay, just calm down, we're saving your life right now. It's okay, just breathe. Like calming myself down through the process.
You have to be calm in that moment, man.
Self-talk is important.
It is important. Because literally, if I'd have moved, they could have torn the artery even more. What terrible things could have happened there. You literally you have to stay still. And so then I felt it go all the way through, and then there was like a really weird kind of clicking motion in my chest, and that was them inflating the balloon. So there's like a balloon attached to the end of this wire that's got a tiny, tiny little wire stent wrapped around it. And they pushed that all the way into the artery, and then they inflated it, and I actually felt that inflating in my chest.
Wow.
And then it was done, and I was out. I mean, there's some damage. There's some damage to the outward pump of my heart because my blood flow was restricted for a period of time. So there's certain medications now, being anti-big pharma, but there's certain medications now that I have to take for life just to live, really, because I now have that foreign body in my heart. My body could reject it, or I could build up scar tissue or clotting around it. So I've got to take certain meds, which make me feel pretty crap most of the time.
Did you ever quick question, yeah? Did you ever find out like what actually caused it?
What the cause of it was?
Because obviously like
so the cause of it was diabetes. I got diagnosed with diabetes in 2014.
Yeah.
And I was diet and exercise controlled for a long time. I didn't want to go on medication. And it was type 2, so it was about what I was eating and what I was putting into my body. And, you know, the stubborn part of my brain was like, no, I'm not going to take medication for that. This is a self-control issue. But I'm also a sugar addict. And so I've gone through like the kind of that constant up and down battle of like, you know, fasting and clearing out my system, and then ended up going on a sugar binge 30 days later. So in that constant cycle, never really quite cracking it. But I had it was controlled. And then during lockdown, I wasn't really exercising. I was quite depressed, like a lot of people. I was inside a lot. I was comfort eating a lot. And it got really out of control. And I didn't know I was so unwell. I was just tired all the time. And then I had a bleed in the back of my eye. I went for a checkup for my diabetes, and I had a bleed in the back of my eye. And they wanted to put me on medication. This was in the November. And I said no, because, again, I believed I could put it back. I don't think I appreciated how out of balance my body was, how much in crisis it actually was at that stage. So I decided no, I knew better, that I was going to work on diet and exercise, but it was kind of too late. Things had kind of gone a little bit too far within my body at that point. It spiraled out of control. And then the week that I actually had the heart attack, I was super tired, and I remember on the Wednesday, like just not being able to get out of bed and just having like a different kind of tired that I hadn't felt before. But I pushed on because that's what I do. Just get on with it. It's fine. I didn't make the correlation. I should have, but hindsight's a beautiful thing. Do you know what I mean? And so then I went to work, went to the gig on the Friday, and boom, all of that happened.
Like prior to that, did you ever have like any health scares, like obviously maybe like a year or two before?
Nothing major. So I had the diabetes, but I think I hadn't taken that as seriously as what it is and how actually dangerous. You know, it does cause death and heart attacks and strokes and all those things. And I don't think I really appreciated it. I think we take it for granted. When it's our health, and we think it will never happen to me.
To us,
I think even now my brain is still trying to catch up with what's actually happened, you know, and because it impacts me on a day-to-day basis. The biggest thing it's impacting at the moment is my ability to sing, which is, it made me cry and get tears in my eyes, because of the damage to the heart. My lung capacity is affected, so how I breathe is affected, and obviously that impacts how I sing.
You know what, I want to say something quickly, like when I was, I don't know if you saw, I even actually left you a comment, and the comment literally on one of your one of the posts said like, don't ever let don't let your dream die. Never. So basically, because like when we speak to a lot of people, like obviously we realize a lot of us are chasing different things, right? We live in a day and age where we understand that we can do more than one thing, right? But at the same time, I feel like some of us, we need to be careful in terms of like getting lost. Meaning, you know, sometimes it's very, very important for you to stick to one thing until you master it, or until it's doing good, and then you can obviously move on to other things.
I think there's something in that about understanding your purpose.
And
when you understand what your purpose is, you're doing the right things. Even though they might be multi-skilled, different tasks, they're all heading towards the same purpose. And one thing that I have realised is that I've got older is that my purpose is spreading joy through music. And that doesn't necessarily have to be mine, like personally written, but just the power of music and how it unites and brings us together, raising the vibration of the people in the room. I'm very blessed that that is my gift. But I also feel like it's my purpose, it's my passion. If you come to see me perform, I want you to feel lighter when you leave. I want to see you smile during that performance. I want to see some of your worries come off your shoulder just for that minute. So it's all about how I engage with you, how I sing to you, how I sing your favourites, how I get you involved. You know, I do believe that that's my purpose, and that's, I think when I was younger, I always knew that music was my purpose, but I thought that I was the artist. I thought I was the front and centre.
Okay, yeah.
And I think it never quite worked for me in the big time in the music industry, and I never quite knew why that was. I always felt like there was something wrong within me that wasn't quite good enough. And I think we all feel that when we're younger, don't we? When we don't get the things that we want or things don't quite go our way, we automatically take it on ourselves. But then as I've got older and I understand more about the music industry and the darkness within the entertainment industry and how things really work, I've realised that actually that was probably my saving. That path wasn't meant for me because my path is about light. And actually within that industry there is a whole world of darkness. Like, it's actually crazy the representation that's happening in the music industry at the minute with Luciferianism and Satanism and whether you're religious or not, the darkness and the embracing of darkness. Why are we doing that? Why is that the agenda? Because it's not our agenda. It's not our artists' agenda. It's not us music creators. It's not our agenda. It comes from a higher up, top down.
Can I quickly say something about that? Like, when we speak about, like, obviously music, the kind of music that's being pushed to us, the kind of music that a lot of people are championing, for me, even this was recently, I thought to myself, well, we can speak about, obviously, the labels, all of these people that are pushing the music to us and whatever. But for me, sometimes I like to simplify things, meaning, like, how come we don't look at the consumers? Because, for example, like, there's 3 of us here, right? And nice and simple, we all of us have got different taste when it comes to music, right? And let's face it, even if, like, record labels, people try to push certain people, certain music in our faces, let's face it, some of us with a certain taste, we don't buy that shit, drill or whatever.
However,
you get where I'm coming from, though?
I do.
Yeah, go on.
But do you not think that there's an element of maturity that comes with that? As you get older, your tastes evolve, your view of the world evolves, how you see and view things evolve. And actually the music industry is targeted at our young people at their most impressionable stages, and they perpetuate certain myths and certain values to those young, impressionable people that buy into it from that young age. So we can look at the consumers, but who are the consumers? The biggest consumers of music are teenagers. And so that's who it's pitched to and marketed to, those impressionable young minds who are just learning about life. And, that is why the music industry is so orchestrated, because older artists, we've learned, we've grown, we've healed, we've travelled, we've gone on journeys. We have something to say that can teach, that can inspire, that can lead, that can motivate. But our music is not promoted. It's out there because people like you and me are making it all day long. It's out there, but it's not what's funded. It's not what's promoted because it doesn't fit the agenda. The agenda is about control. The whole agenda of the world is about control, and the music and the entertainment industry is a big driver and factor within that. It's a big tool to control people.
100%. Yeah.